I'm working on the 23 F250 today. I've got a Cargo Net kit by Muslogy. I'm going to open this up and show you everything that comes in this bag. First part of the kit, you do get this storage bag, and they do have a little bit of a description of what's inside here. You've got the heavy-duty net here. It's a 6mm latex. It does come with the metal carabiners. It says it's ready for outside or harsh weather conditions, and it's multifunctional, multi-purpose. And they have a copy of their website down here. If you're wanting to go to amazon.com/Muslogy, you can find some of their other products as well. Here is the Cargo Net itself, and it's not really designed for a tailgate section. It's more designed for the top of the bed of the truck, but you can use it for many other purposes, especially if you move those carabiners where you have hooks or however you want to hook your cargo or secure your cargo. It does have pre-tied knots in here, so it is more like a webbing style, and we'll open this up and I'll show you it in the back of the truck so you get an idea how big this is. It does look thicker to me than most cargo style nets I've seen in the past, and it does have a nice stretch to it. It doesn't feel hard, and it doesn't feel like things are going to get stuck on this webbing and on this rope here. So we'll show you that in more detail as I put it across the truck. They've included these carabiner hooks inside the kit. There are 14 total. They feel like they're aluminum. They are not the latch style up here, though, so keep that in mind. These are not for heavy duty, and these are also not for climbing or anything like that. But they do have a nice spring return to them. They're more of a brown color, and they do have the Muslogy logo on all 14 of them right there. Here's the net laid out in the back of my 23 F250 with the 6'9" bed. You can see before I stretch this out, it's a little bit smaller than the bed size, and that's what you want. So when you pull this latex, you'll have a nice tight fit. It'll help secure your cargo. You really don't want it the size of the bed, because if it is the size of the bed, you're not going to get that nice tight stretch there. So how I laid this out is there is a single piece of string here, and there's one on the opposite corner up here, if you can see that. And that kind of lets me know this is the lengthwise of this net. So I'm going to put this one towards the front. I'm going to put this one towards the back. I'm going to use some of those supplied clips, and I'm going to connect it to some of the forward anchors, but I also have these rad straps here on the side, so I'm also going to connect to some of this so I can show you what is possible depending on your securement here on the side of your bed. I've put all four corners on, and before I do any of these side corners here, I wanted to show you, in case you don't have the same tie downs I have as these rad straps, this is what it's going to look like if you just tie down the four corners using the forward attachment points here. So there is one point here, and the way you're going to kind of tell you got the corner, you should have 3 bands right there. So that's the way I figured out I've got the corner here. Remember, on this side, we've got that one string sticking out. And then over here, opposite corner, of course, you're going to have 3 bands here, and we're just on that forward hook there. And then we've got that single strand coming out right here. So you can see it's definitely tight. It's not going to be flying around or flying out of the bed. Of course, with some wind, if you don't have a bed cover, this is going to be kind of flopping a little bit like that. But it definitely feels very good, very secure. And I will put some cargo underneath here so you'll get an idea on how secure that can hold that. Main reason you would want this, and just like my example, if you've got to roll your bed cover up, you've got some cargo you've got to put back here, you're not going to want all this stuff flying off the back of the truck. So like I mentioned, I'm going to try to put some cargo underneath here, show you what that looks like. I've got 2 different types of cargo in the back of the bed now. One is an outdoor table, and the other is a styrofoam cooler that is square. And you can see how this one is a different height, but it's still allowing the net to contour around that, and then it's also allowing it to contour around this piece of the cooler as well. Now keep in mind, if you've got multiple items and they're very tall, your shorter items, of course, are not going to be secured by that net, but it is going to stop that stuff from blowing out of the back of the truck or out of the top of the truck. And I think that this is definitely going to hold that secure, especially applications where I cannot have my truck bed cover rolled back to cover the cargo area. Here's another option. If you've got the box link system by Ford, or even if you have this rad strap setup like I have on my F250 or on other particular trucks, depending on what kind of mounts you have. I know Toyota trucks have got some kind of railing system around front and back. But just to show you where you can secure this in a couple other spots. For mine right here, I do have the rad straps, and I do have these hook plates right here. So I'm able to use the center hole there. I've got one up here as well. And I've got one on that side and this side. So that definitely makes this net even more secure, especially if you've got stuff near the sides here. It won't be as loose all the way down that side. So you've got multiple options. You know, basically anywhere you've got one of these edges, you can grab that rope, tie it off. If you've got other tie downs in the back of your truck, you can secure this net in definitely more locations than I did here. For my application, though, I think this would be plenty for any cargo that I would have here in the back. Another neat thing about them including this bag in this kit is that if you don't want to leave your cargo net in the back of your truck all the time, you can roll it up, store it in this bag. It's a nylon feel. It's got a nice zipper there on the top, so you're not going to be wondering where your net is or wondering if it's sitting out here in the elements if you really don't want to keep it back here all the time. And then you can just store it inside the cab of the truck. I've rolled this net up several times trying to actually tangle it, and I haven't been able to tangle it. So that's another important thing. They did a pretty good job on how they tied the knots here and how the net is designed. You can't really tangle this thing up. I'm sure if you tried hard enough, you probably could, but just my general use, I haven't been able to. And that's very important too, because when you want to use your tools or you want to use something for your truck, the last thing you want to do is sitting here having to repair it or fix it or untangle it before you can actually use it. I'm going to have links to this product in the description and comments of this video. I'll also have links to Muslogy's products on Amazon if you're interested in any of the other products I've reviewed for this truck or any of the other vehicles that I own. Hopefully this information was useful or helpful for you. And if it was, please subscribe and share. And that's to the point.